book also includes the title, that is, Depression and Addiction. And your book also gets into difficult to treat conditions like PTSD and eating disorders. What should we understand about these healing breakthroughs from psychedelics?
So psilocybin and MDMA, which is the name for ecstasy, have been the ones that have gotten the most attention from researchers. They're not working with LSD strictly for pragmatic reasons. It carries a lot of baggage politically, but it also is such a long trip that you'd have to pay overtime to your therapists. It can go on for 12 hours, whereas psilocybin is only 6 hours or so. So it kind of fits into the therapeutic day a little better. But they will be doing work on those other psychedelics, and mescaline too, at some point. So they're being trialed for depression, both major depression and treatment-resistant depression. Obsessive compulsive disorder, there's a really interesting trial going on at Yale right now. Smoking addiction, alcohol addiction, cocaine addiction are all being trialed, and some of those are done and have been successful. And let's see what else. Eating disorders, I think, is underway or just got started at Johns Hopkins. And there's a couple others, about to happen. And, my first reaction when I heard that was, well, what is this, a panacea? I mean, you're trying out all these different things. Why would the same drug work on all those things? And I put this question to Tom Insel, who's a very prominent psychiatrist. He was head of the National Institute of Mental Health. And the first thing he said to me is, why are you so sure those are different things? They all may be symptoms of the same underlying mental disorder, which could be an excessively rigid brain, a mind that is stuck in loops of rumination. So we may discover at some point there is an underlying phenomenon that expresses itself, manifests in all these different ways, which I thought was a very interesting way to think about it. And in fact, there is a group at Mass General at Harvard that is directly studying rumination. What psychedelics appear to do is make it possible to break habits of thought, destructive habits of thought and behavior. Addiction is such a habit, obviously. And how this works, we're not really sure, but there is a kind of relearning, repatterning of the mind that can happen. And it was very striking in the case of the addicts that I interviewed. I interviewed several people in the smoking cessation and the cocaine trial. And in smoking, people would have these experiences. Like this woman described to me, she'd smoked since she was 20 and she was in her 50s. And her trip took her all over the world, and she saw the Taj Mahal and the pyramids. It was like this, grand tour of everything, and it was thrilling. And she came out of it thinking, God, there's so much to do in life and so much to see, and isn't it stupid to smoke cigarettes and shorten your life? Now, this is not a profound insight, and she probably had that thought sober at various times. But there's something about the psychedelic experience that makes sort of semi-banal insights like that feel really earth-shaking and profound and sticky enough to actually act on them. And people make resolutions that actually hold. And she immediately lost her taste for cigarettes. It did feel stupid. It felt like something she didn't need to do. And this goes back to the mystical experience. There's one other characteristic of it that I didn't mention, which is what James called the noetic quality. The fact that the insights you have during a mystical experience have a status. They're more like revealed truth than an opinion or an insight. They just have this, etched on stone tablets quality.